Hi, today I'm here with Mrs. Laue, formerly known as Miss Ortiz, who just got married, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So today we're going to talk about a little bit about her background in business. Not only is she a teacher here at J. Sarah, but she has some experience. She founded her own nonprofit, so she's going to tell us a little bit about how she got into business and some advice. So my first kind of question is, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Kind of where you went to college, what you did in business.
Yeah, so I went to Cal State LA in Los Angeles. I went there for a full 4 years. I really enjoyed my time there. It's more of a commuter school, so I actually had a lot of time and experience getting to know people that were already in the workforce and living separate lives as far as school and having a family and going to school. It was very, very interesting, actually. And I studied business there. I studied business management, and I really enjoyed the classes. I loved, especially marketing was one of my favorite classes I think that I took there, in sales. And then as far as college goes, it just was a really wonderful experience that I think was very valuable, like for making a lot of good connections, especially with people that I wouldn't know otherwise, especially my professors. They were very, very important, especially with later becoming professional and getting advice, especially like on LinkedIn or things of that nature.
Awesome, that's super cool. And so you have your own nonprofit organization. So do you want to tell us about how you started that and a little bit about it?
Yes, so I started my nonprofit about a year ago now, and I had tried a lot of different jobs before that, part-time, some full-time that I worked on, and I did some data entry. I did a lot of more of like a management with in a lower level scene, and I was kind of discovering things that I was interested in, and one of those things was learning more about women's fertility. And my nonprofit's called Ovulight. It's a women's fertility nonprofit, and I remember thinking about it and saying, wow, this is something that's really valuable and important to me, that I've discovered so much about myself that I wouldn't have otherwise known if I hadn't looked into it, and how much it's helped me with my health, with my ability to love people well, because I can manage my emotions based off now that I know what's kind of going on with my body, and being able to want to share that with other people, but more specifically like younger women, understand that too. And then even specifically, so the whole reason I started it is because when I was really young, I was pushed a lot on birth control. I never took it. And the reason I never did is because I was so convinced that there were things that I know I could do naturally that I wanted to try first, that I think doctors ignore a lot of those symptoms or deeper issues that they decide not to go through with because it costs more money and more time and all these things, and that women deserve better and deserve more information, especially on what is actually going on, and that this is publicly known that is just a lot more difficult to find. And that's kind of why I started it.
Yeah, I love that you turn your passions into your business, which is super cool. So you said that your company was recently founded about a year ago,
yes.
Right? Okay. So what are some challenges that you faced in starting a new company? I'm sure there's been ups and downs.
Yes, so I think the two biggest obstacles in starting a new business are money and starting out. Because starting out can be really intimidating. There's a lot of paperwork, becoming incorporated, getting a board of directors, having people that are supporting you as well, including family and friends. If you don't have that kind of support, it kind of makes it a lot more difficult. Luckily, I had that. But then even just specifically funds, I'm a nonprofit, so finding ways to supplement things like on my own. So much of what happens when you're in business is you are investing in this yourself. You are putting in money that you have from your blood, sweat, and tears from high school, college, whatever you have, to be able to push this through. And those things can kind of set you back if you are really discouraged by it. But knowing that there is a way, and that there's so many possibilities that people don't even understand. Like, there's an abundance if we look for it.
That's super cool. Okay, so how do you market yourself as a nonprofit? It's a little bit different from other companies. So how do you what are some things that you use, like social media?
So right now I use primarily social media. We're starting out right now. I have some photographers that I worked with that have made some some pictures for me that have helped a lot, like grow. And as far as our website goes as well, like it's beautiful, and it like makes people even more intrigued by it, especially. And then the other biggest thing has just been word of mouth, because the more people talk about something, the more people want to know about it. Eventually, I would love to hire an intern to do a full-time TikTok, Reels, and Instagram posts, but at the moment, that's something that I'm kind of looking for. My last intern was at the Cal State Fullerton, and she had to kind of step back and take a different turn based off some of her things, so I'm kind of looking for another one now that could possibly help in the future.
Awesome. So you kind of talked about this already, but where do you see your company going? Unfortunately, we know Mrs. Laue is not going to be here next year, so are you going to take more of a full-time job into this, or are you where do you see it go?
Yeah, so once I leave JSerra, this is going to be my full-time job. One of those things that's been a little bit difficult is teaching is a full-time job and more. And being a teacher is so beautiful and great, and I'm so thankful that I was able to do this, and it's taught me so much. But now that I'm kind of stepping into a new field, having the flexibility to kind of move into a different direction and take charge of that and really make a lot of steps and bounds forward. I'm looking forward to traveling, learning a lot more. Having more opportunities to read about this and educate myself. I want to start a podcast for interviewing doctors and specialists and people that are very aware of what's going on right now, especially for young women, and really kind of elevating this forward, especially with the time that I will have now. And I have a very supportive husband that loves me very much and is very excited for when I start this, and was one of the people that has really encouraged me to keep pushing this forward, that one day it'll be somewhere in public education and otherwise where young girls can look into more about what they want to learn about themselves, that they ought to be able to know.
Yeah, that's super cool. Exciting things coming from Mrs. Ortiz. And so my last little question is, what is your biggest piece of advice for high schoolers looking to go into business? Just like whether something that you wish you did or something that you did that helped.
Yes. I would say the biggest piece of advice would be to look for a mentor. Look for somebody to walk with you and ask them questions, ask for help, and have them show you what you can take steps forward in doing. Having somebody behind you kind of pushing you forward, and somebody you can bounce ideas off and have conversations with who has been where you've been before is invaluable. Makes things so much more smooth and honestly less lonely, because when you get to those times where it's difficult or it's hard and it's frustrating or you don't know what's going to happen next, having somebody to kind of talk to about these ideas or projects or frustrations makes everything so much easier. And you have somebody that will walk with you for a lifetime and can look back and say, wow, like what a great act of contribution that I got to help this person make something beautiful.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Well, thank you so much. We learned so much, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.